Okay, we are live now. Hello, everyone. Ryan Hassan from the Centre for Healing here, joined by Matt Nettleton. Matt, how you doing today?
I'm good, thanks.
Matt and I are just jumping on to do this quick live. We have decided that we're going to jump on every Tuesday and do a short live. Only 10 minutes, 15 maximum. Just something short and sweet on a particular topic when it comes to trauma, being trauma informed, mental health, addiction, part of the human condition, whatever comes up. So today we're going to talk about the importance of safety. If you're watching this, maybe watching the replay, and you have a topic that you would like us to discuss next week, then drop it in the comments or send us a DM, and we're happy to whatever you guys and girls want to hear about. Then we'll do this 10-minute live on that. So today, the importance of safety. So Matt, do you want to start off by talking about how safety isn't just the absence of threat?
Sure. I've spoken to a lot of people and about this topic, and they like a question I've been asked is it a bypass? Is it an avoidance? And like safety in a certain context can be. I'm sort of keeping myself safe by staying away from certain situations or certain feelings. So I learn to cultivate this sort of place of safety inside me, and I cling to it as a way of avoiding everything else. But safety's, in the context that we're talking about it, it's not the absence of threat. It's actually a felt sense. It's a ground or a container that we can then meet activation from. It's a ground or container or stability, a place of stability that we can then meet activation, meet threat, meet life, on its own terms from. So, we can cultivate a sense of safety in our body. And so if anyone is listening right now, let's just take a deep breath. And just notice on the exhale how everything softens and lets go. And just taking another deep breath in. Just feeling that sigh on the exhale. Let's just take a few moments to pause and let everything go. All the worries of the day, all the concerns about what's happening in the world and in our country. And this is what I use for a resource, and everyone has their own, but I use the space around my body as a sort of container or holding. I feel that space around me, like a kind, loving, warm space. Like when you're a child and you're being held by mum or dad. And it feels safe, loving, present. And on the exhale, just allow the body to relax into that space, into being held. Feeling all the different parts of the body, anywhere that feels tense, or like it's holding, constricted, like it doesn't want to let go. Notice that space is still holding those constrictions. It's not actually trying to get rid of them. It's like a container that allows those holdings to sort of be there, to grasp. So we've got the contrast here. We've got safety, the resource, the container, and we've got the constriction and the activation. And so for me, this is really about cultivating a dual awareness or an ability to pendulate between the two. So if everyone's ready, just take a breath and come back to listening. And I can feel the difference throughout my whole body just from that very brief moment. Yeah, everything starts to regulate itself. And, the next dot point here is safety brings about a natural connection and a natural sort of healing. And we talk about this in embodied processing training, where it's like if I cut my hand, I don't need to do anything to heal it. I just need to make sure the environment's safe and conducive for healing. So my body's natural intelligence comes in, steps in and heals the wound. I don't do it by trying to fix it by willpower or my intelligence, my cognitive intelligence. It happens of itself when the environment is conducive. And it's the same as healing trauma. And so that environment is the same. That environment is what a resource is. That's the container. That's the safety. So if I can relax with what's happening, or learn to cultivate a sense of something else that I can pendulate to, and then meet the activation, what happens is my body begins to naturally heal itself and come back to homeostasis. And I can cultivate a felt sense of safety in my body, around my body. And eventually what happens is I spike into distress, say a trigger happens, and the gap between getting stuck up there for days, weeks, months, years, in a lifetime, and coming back down and learning to come out of that, so regulate a stress response, gets shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. So, to me, that's what safety means. It's the place that we meet life from, like I said, on life's terms. It's not an avoidance of life or a bypass of life.
And Matt used the word cultivate there. It's so important that when we are kind of new to this work, then it's very, very hard to say just get in touch with the felt sense of safety. And this is why it is like watering a plant over and over again, so it can grow over time. So it is, if you're having trouble early on, that's perfectly normal. But if we keep at it and keep cultivating that sense of safety in the body, then the byproduct of that is, yes, these old emotional wounds will feel safe to come up and actually purge. And like Matt spoke about how life will heal the cut. Life will grow our limbs. Life also wants to purge all these emotional wounds, but just doesn't feel safe enough to in the moment. Because what safety is, like we use that term, a resource, whenever we go through a potentially a difficult life experience, it becomes a trauma or an undigested life experience when there's no resource of safety present. So as we cultivate that now in our adult life, when we grow that to a certain point, we are then able to welcome in these old parts of ourselves, this version of us from 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago. And we can start to then digest these life experiences which have been held within our soma, within our body. And also we're able to deal with whatever life presents us in the moment, a difficult conversation or argument with our spouse, a difficult moment with a boss or co-worker at work or with our children, whatever it is. If we have a strong sense of safety, then we can really approach life with more presence and less activation, which is better for everyone. So I hope you enjoyed that. We are under 10 minutes. Look at us go, Matt. Very efficient. I hope you enjoyed that. If you're watching it, if you're watching the replay later and you have any questions, drop them down below. Or if you have a topic that you would like us to discuss next week, then let us know and we will do that. Have a beautiful day, everyone.